Hi, I'm Julie Marion, owner-broker of Huddle Real Estate, and today we're talking about the Federal Fair Housing Law. April is Fair Housing Month because April 11, 1968, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed into law the Federal Fair Housing Law. At that time, there were classes of people that were protected under the law, and this came after a long social unrest in our nation's history. It was agreed upon that everyone in this country should have equal access to housing that is for rent and for sale. And so the Federal Fair Housing Law was born. There were 4 protected classes: race, religion, color, and national origin. And then later, additional protected classes were adopted. Sex was adopted in 1974, disability was added in 1988, and familial status was also added in 1988. So those are the 6 protected classes. However, in Massachusetts, we have some additional protected classes, and they include the source of income. You cannot discriminate against someone if they have a Section 8 voucher, for example. We also have a protected class of gender identity, age, marital status, veteran and military active status, and genetic information. So it's very important not to bar anyone from housing based on these protected classes. So let's get into it a little bit more here. So what happens if you violate the law? I'll tell you, the penalties are pretty stiff. I used to be an urban planner, and when I worked for the state of New Mexico and the State Housing Authority, we received a lot of complaints. And what would happen is that either someone would complain directly to our office, or they would complain to the HUD level, and then we were referred the complaint. And what would then the next step is that we would go out and investigate. And so not always did the same person go out. There would be subcontractors where we hired testers, and they would go out and see if the organization, the nonprofit organization or the private sector organization, had a continuing practice of discrimination. So in terms of the penalties, every year it goes up, but just right now the penalties are just under $20,000 for the first offense. And if you have violated it multiple times within a certain time frame, I think it's 3 years, it's just under $50,000. And if you've done it repetitive times within a certain time frame, it's just over $100,000. So the penalties are stiff, and my advice is to everyone is just treat everyone equally, treat everyone fairly. But sometimes some people are not really sure exactly what the discrimination really means when you apply the person to the physical structure. So I wanted to give you some context so that you can understand how these violations can occur without you really realizing it. So say, for example, I was pregnant and I wanted to go to an apartment, and the landlord told me that he wasn't going to rent me the apartment because I was pregnant. Well, that's a violation of the fair housing laws. He can't do that, or she can't do that because that I'm pregnant. That goes to my sex, and it also goes to my familial status. Additionally, say I had a family of 6, and the landlord says, I'm not going to rent to you because you have children under the age of 6, and I have lead paint in this property, and I'm not going to rent to you. Well, he can't do that either because it's a violation of my familial status. So that's how you can see how the structure actually then applies to the people. Another example would be where I would be getting charged different fees or rent or fees in a loan, where just because I am Caucasian or or my national origin, I'm charged. They have different rates for different races or national origins. That's a violation of the Federal Fair Housing Law as well. So most of the lenders and anytime you talk with a real estate agent, that we all know these laws, and we know that you're not allowed to discriminate based on these laws, and all the lenders know this too. So what do you do if you believe that you've been discriminated against? Well, you need to file a complaint with the Office of Housing and Urban Development, and you can also call the state of Massachusetts, who also implements the state fair housing laws. If you have any questions, please reach out to those people and go ahead and file your complaint, as you should always have the opportunity to have equal access to rental housing and home ownership opportunities. I'm Julie Marion with Huddle Real Estate. Make it a great day.